The turbulent history of the Cherry Blossom Festival in Washington, D.C., and why they had to be burnt down. As you may know, these cherry trees are native to Eastern Asia and were given as a gift from Japan to be planted along the Potomac River. In 1885, journalist Eliza Scidmore visited Japan, saw these trees, and proposed they be planted in America. Several trees were brought to America, and Scidmore hosted a cherry blossom viewing in 1905. Botanist David Fairchild attended the viewing with his fiancée, who was the daughter of Alexander Graham Bell. Fairchild admired the trees and ordered 1,000 to be planted on his property. Meanwhile, Scidmore furthered her efforts to get the trees planted in D.C., raising money, as well as writing to First Lady Helen Taft. Yokishita Kamine, a Japanese chemist, met with the First Lady, Helen Taft, and proposed a donation of 2,000 cherry trees to be planted on the Potomac. The trees finally arrived in 1910. Upon further inspection, the U.S. Department of Agriculture concluded that the trees were infested with insects and nematodes and could destroy local crops. President Taft gave the go-ahead, and all the trees were subsequently burnt to a crisp. A letter was sent with regrets to Japan, and 3,000 more trees were sent to America, a gift from Tokyo and Mayor Yukio Ozaki. Helen Taft and the wife of the Japanese ambassador ceremoniously planted the first 2 trees along the tidal basin of the Potomac in 1912. These trees are still standing and are marked by a plaque. The U.S. gifted dogwood trees to Japan in 1915 as a thanks for the gesture. Although the cherry trees were admired for quite some time in D.C., the official Cherry Blossom Festival did not happen for a few decades after. 4 days after the attacks on Pearl Harbor, 4 of the trees were cut down, as a protest to Japan. Instead of referring to the trees as Japanese cherry trees, they were commonly called Oriental trees to combat the vandalism of the trees. The Cherry Blossom Festival was suspended during World War II and resumed in 1947. Japan continued to gift the U.S. cherry trees in the years after, giving another 3,800 trees to Lady Bird Johnson in 1965 and planted near the Washington Monument. In 1982, severe flooding in Japan damaged some of their cherry trees, so Japanese botanists brought tree cuttings back from America to replace the damaged trees, coming full circle. The legacy of the iconic Japanese cherry blossoms in Washington reigns on, with over 1.5 million people attending the festival annually, which has been expanded upon with performances and street parties.